Welcome you all to this lecture session on statistics. Now, statistics and data analytics happens to be one of the most important topic in today's world. And we begin with the fundamentals of statistics, wherein we try to find the mean. So how do we define the mean? Mean is defined as the sum of all values of all observations divided by the total number of observations. So now let's call x bar as the mean and the sum of all observations. The total number of observations being f1, f2 and f3 and so on. And the sum of all observations would be f1 x1 plus f2 x2 and so on plus fn xn divided by f1 plus f2 and so on up to fn. Right? So let us straight away start with solving the problems given in the first exercise, and let us see how we can apply the mean and all the different variants of calculations by solving these problems straight away. The first problem states that there is a survey which is conducted by a group of students to find the number of plants in 20 houses, right? So we have number of plants and then we have number of houses, right? So plants 0 to 2, there's only one house. 2 to 4, there are two houses. 4 to 6, there is one. 6 to 8, there are 5 houses. 8 to 10, there are 6 houses. And then 10 to 12, there are 2 houses, and 12 to 14, there are 3 houses. Right? So here you find that the variation is continuous, right? 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, right? So there is one house with plants 0 to 2, right? There are 2 houses with plants varying from 2 to 4 and so on and so forth, right? So this becomes Fi. Number of houses becomes Fi. Now to find the mean, we need to find the midpoint. The midpoint xi. So if I consider here, so there is a variation, isn't it? So we find the midpoint of the variation. 0 to 2, the midpoint is 1. And then 2 to 4, the midpoint is 3. And then 5, 7, 9, 11 and 13. So we find the midpoints here, and then we find the observations Fi into xi, right? So we need to multiply these two. So 1 into 1 is 1, 3 into 2 is 6, 5 into 1 is 5, 35, 9 into 6 is 54, and then we get 22 and 39. Find the sum, that is summation Fi xi. We need to add up. So when we add all of them, we get 162. And then divided by the total number of observations there. So the total number of observations is summation Fi, which is nothing but 20. Because it has been given that the survey was conducted from 20 houses, so this is 20. So we get the mean as summation Fi xi divided by summation Fi, which is 162 by 20. So therefore the mean is 8.1. So what does this mean? So on an average, there are 8.1 number of plants per house. So when a survey was done among 20 houses, it was observed that there are 8.1 number of plants per house. So that's the mean value. So moving on with the next question. So here there are there is a table of the daily wages of workers. So there are 50 workers and there is a variation here. So the wage 100 to 120 rupees. So we have number of workers. So range of 100 to 120 12 workers get. So 120 to 140 we have 14 workers, and then 140 to 160 we have 8, and 160 to 180 we have 6, and then 180 to 200 we have 10. So the summation Fi is 50. There are 50 workers which has been given here, right? So now let's try to find the midpoint. To find the midpoint, what do? We add these two and divide by 2. So 100 plus 120 divided by 2. So we find the midpoint, which is xi. So of course, by observation, it would be 110. Here it is 130, 150, 170 and 190. Okay? So now the midpoint is large, so therefore we consider the mean value. So the mean value, so there are 5 values here. The mean value is of course the third value, which is A. So A is 150 here, which happens to be the mean value, and we find UI. So what is UI? So UI is the midpoint xi minus the mean value, which is 150, divided by this range. So the range here is 20, which is known as the class interval, which is 20. Right? So the range happens to be 20, which is h. So h is the class interval, which is 20. Right? So we want to reduce the value here because the midpoint range is too large. So therefore, xi minus 150 divided by 20. So we get minus 40 divided by 20, which is minus 2. 130 minus 150 is minus 20 divided by 20, which is minus 1. Here 150 minus 150 is 0. 170 minus 150 is 20 divided by 20, which is 1. And 190 minus 150 is 40 divided by 20 is 2. So we get the value of ui. So next, multiply ui with fi, the number of observations, which is here, the number of workers. So ui into fi. So what do we get? ui into fi, so which is 12 into minus 2, which is minus 24, then minus 14, 0, 6 and 20. So this is ui fi. Find summation ui fi. So we find the summation of ui fi. So when we find the summation, we get the value as minus 12. So the mean value is given as a plus. So since we have actually subtracted 150, that is the mean value, from the midpoint we add 150 here, plus we have divided by the interval, so we multiply it into minus 12 divided by fi, which is 50. Right? So general expression happens to be a plus h into, that is summation ui fi divided by fi. Right? So a is 150 here. So we get the value as 145.2. So the mean wage of the worker is rupees 145.2 per worker. So in the next problem, the daily pocket allowance of children is given in a locality. So the distribution is provided. So the daily allowance of rupees 11 to 13, we have 7 children who get this range of allowance. Next, 13 to 15, we have 6. Then 15 to 17 is 9. 17 to 19 is 13. 19 to 21 is f. So which is not known, and we need to find the value of f. 21 to 23 is 5, and 23 to 25 is 4. So this is fi. So we need to find the value of f. So let's find the midpoint. So the midpoint xi is of course the intermediate value here, so this is 12. So the value between 13 and 15 is 14, 16, 18 here, 20, 22 and 24. So next we need to find fi xi. So once we knew the procedure, solving the problem becomes very simple. So 12 into 7 is 84, 14 into 6 is again 84, 16 into 9 is 144, next we have 234, next 20f, 22 into 5 is 110, and 24 into 4 is 96. So how many children are there? So therefore summation fi is 44 plus f, and then summation fi xi is 752 plus 20f. Right? Now what has been given in the problem? It has been given that the mean pocket allowance is rupees 18. So x dash has been given as 18, which is summation fi xi divided by fi. So this value 18 is equal to 752 plus 20f divided by 44 plus f. Okay, right? So taking this to LHS, so we get 44 into 18, which is 792 plus 18f equals 752 plus 20f. So bringing this to LHS here, we get 40 equals 20 minus 18 is 2f. So f equals 40 by 2, which is 20. So the number of students here who get an allowance of 21 to 23 rupees is, so the number of children who get an allowance between 90 to 21 is 20. The fourth problem, there are 30 women whose heartbeat is recorded per minute. So we need to find the mean heartbeat per minute. So we have number of heartbeats per minute. So we have number of heartbeats per minute and number of women. So which is Fi. So we have the range between 65 to 68, there are 2, 68 to 71, 4, 71 to 74, we have 3, 74 to 77, we have 8, 77 to 80, we have 7, 80 to 83, we have 4, and 83 to 86, there are 2. So as usual, we need to find the midpoint. So the midpoint xi is 65 plus 68 by 2, which is 66.5. So this is 66.5, this is 69.5, this is 72.5, 75.5, 78.5, 81.5 and 84.5. So how do we get these midpoints? We need to add these two and divide by 2. We get the midpoints here. So again, let's try to find the interval, the class interval, right? So the class interval is the interval which is 65 to 68. So h is 3. And let us try to find the mean value A. So the mean value A is, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries. So the fourth entry A is 75.5, right? So we follow the same procedure here. So x dash would be A plus h into summation fi xi divided by summation fi. So for that we need to find ui. Ui is xi minus A divided by the value 3, which is h, right? So h is 3 here. So now let's do the calculation. So 66.5 minus 65 0.5 is 9 by 3, which is minus 3. So 69.5 minus 75.5 is minus 6 by 3, which is minus 2. So here this is minus 3 by 3, which is minus 1, 0. So again we get 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So in all the cases we realize that the values on either sides of 0 remain the same except that their signs vary. Right? So now find fi into ui. So we get minus 6 and then minus 8, minus 3, 0, 7, 8 and 6. So find the summation. The summation fi ui is 4. So when we do the calculations we get 75.5 plus 3 into 4 divided by, so here you need to find the number of women. The number of women is 30, which is being given in the problem. So summation fi is 30. So divided by 30. So we get the average rate is 75.9. So 75.9 is the mean heart rate when we consider 30 women. So the next problem, given the number of mangoes and the number of boxes here. So there are 15 boxes having mangoes in the range of 50 to 52. 110 boxes having mangoes in the range of 53 to 55 and so on. Now we find that this range is not continuous, right? So in order to make it continuous, what we do is we add plus 5 and subtract minus 5 from the upper and the lower limit. So when we do that, we get the interval, the new interval as, so I'm subtracting 0.5 from 50, so I get 49.5 to 52.5. So I'm adding 0.5 to the upper limit. So similarly here, I get 52.5 to 55.5. Next, 55.5 to 58.5. 58.5 to 61.5, 61.5 to 64.5. So these are the interval ranges what we get. So now let's try to find the midpoint xi. So the midpoint would be 49.5 plus 52.5 divided by 2. So we get 51, right? So we get a value of 51 here. So it's going to be 50 plus 52, which is 102 divided by 2, which is 51. So here again we get 54. Since the interval range is 3, you can go on adding 3 to the value here, the previous midpoint, to get the next value of midpoint. So this is 57, 60 and 63. So now let's find the deviation. So the deviation di is xi minus a. So what is a? A is 57. So a is 57 and h is 3. So find the deviation. So we use step deviation as the frequency values are big here. So therefore to get the deviation we subtract xi from the value a. So therefore we get minus 6. 51 minus 57 is minus 6, minus 3, 0, 3 and 6. So now let's multiply fi and di. So when we multiply fi and di, we get 15 into minus 6, which is minus 90, and you get minus 330, 0, 345 and 150. So find the summation fi di, which gives us 75. Right? So therefore we use the formula x dash is a plus h summation fi di divided by summation fi. Right? So here we are using step deviation as the frequency values are much larger. So which gives us 57 plus h is 3 into 75 divided by 400. So we get the value as 57.19 mangoes per box. So this is the mean value what we get. Problem 6. The average expenditure for different houses has been given. So we have the expenditure and number of houses. So this is Fi. So what is the expenditure? The expenditure is 100 to 150. Number of houses is 4. 150 to 200. We have 5. 200 to 250. We have 12. 250 to 300. We have 2. And 300 to 350. We have 12. So summation Fi, the total number of houses is 25. So now let's try to find the midpoint. So the midpoint xi is 100 plus 150 by 2, which is 125. So this is 175. Since the range is 50, you go on adding 50 to the previous midpoint to get the next midpoint. So this is 225, 275 and 325. So here again A is 225 and the value of H range is 50. So let's find UI. So UI is xi minus A divided by H. Right? So 125 minus 225 is minus 100 by 50 is minus 2. So 175 minus 225 is minus 50 by 50 is minus 1. There's 0 here and you get 1 and 2 here. So next FIUI. So we have 4 into minus 2 which is minus 8, minus 5, 0, 2 and 4. So find summation FIUI which is minus 7. So we have the mean value x bar which is A plus H into summation FIUI divided by summation Fi. So which is 225 plus H is 50 into minus 7 divided by 25. So we get the value as 211. So 211 rupees per household is the mean expenditure when we consider these 25 houses. So problem 7, we find the concentration of SO2 parts per million and its frequency. So 0.00 to 0.04 frequency is 4 and 0.04 to 0.08 the frequency is 9. So 0.08 to 0.12 again frequency is 9. 0.12 to 0.16 frequency is 2. 0.16 to 0.20 is 4 and 0.20 to 0.24 frequency is 2. Right? So this is Fi. So the sum of the frequencies is 30. So let's find the midpoint. The midpoint xi is of course 0.02, 0.06, 0.1, 0.14 and then 0.18 and then we have 0.22. So these are the midpoints of the frequency ranges of the concentration of SO2. Right? So now let's find out FIXI. So FIXI is 4 into 0.02 which is 0.08. So next we get 0.54, 0.9, 0.28, 0.72 and 0.44. Right? So now if I add up all of them, we get summation FIXI which gives us 2.96. Okay, so what is x cap, which is mean? It is summation FIXI divided by summation Fi. So that gives us a value of 2.96 divided by 30, which gives 0.099 parts per million. Right? So moving on with the next problem. So problem 8, we have an absentee record of 40 students. So number of days, so 0 to 6 days, the number of students who have absented themselves, which is Fi. So 0 to 6 days range, 11 students were absent. 6 to 10, we have 10, and then 10 to 14, we have 7. And then 14 to 20 we have 4, and 20 to 28 we have 4 again, and 28 to 38 we have 3, and 38 to 40 we have 1. So the total number of students is of course 40. So this is for the entire academic year probably. So let's find the midpoint xi. So we find that the range value h is not the same here. So here it is 6, here it is 4, 4, here it is 6 again, 8, 10 and 2. Okay. So let's find the midpoint. So between 0 and 6 it is 3, 6 and 10 it is 8, so here it is 12. So between 14 and 20 is 17, here it is 24, and between 28 and 38 is 33, and 38 and 40 is 39. So find Fi xi. So multiply these two. So we get 33, 80. So 12 into 7 is 84. Next we get 68, and then 96, 99 and 39. So find the summation. So we get 499. So x cap, which is mean, is summation Fi xi divided by summation Fi, which is 499 divided by 40. So we get 12.48 days. So on an average, each student was absent for 12.48 days for the entire academic section. Problem 9, we have a literacy rate in 35 states. We need to find the mean literacy rate. Right? So we have the literacy rate, and then the number of cities where survey was done. So this is Fi. So the literacy rate range between 45 to 55 is 3 cities. So 55 to 65 is 10. 65 to 75 is 11. 75 to 85 is 8 again. And 85 to 95 is 3. So the total number of cities where survey was done for the literacy rate is 35. So summation Fi is 35. So let's find the midpoint. So the midpoint xi is again 50. So add these two, divided by 2, it is 50. We find that the range is 10. So just go on adding 10 here. So we get 60, 70, 80 and 90. So these are the midpoints. So now let's find ui. So ui is xi minus a by h. Right? So what is a? A is definitely 70 here, right? So a is 70. And what is h? H is 10, the range. So it is 10 here. So for the first one, 50 minus 70 is minus 20 by 10, which is minus 2. Next, 60 minus 70 is minus 10 by 10, which is minus 1, 0. 80 minus 70 is 10 by 10, which is 1. 90 minus 70 by 10, which is 2 here. So this is ui. So next we need to find fi into ui, right? So multiply these two. 3 into minus 2 is minus 6. Then we have minus 10, 0, 8 and 6. So let's find the summation FIUI. So we get minus 16 plus 14, which is minus 2. So what is the mean value? The mean value is A plus H into summation FIUI divided by summation Fi. So we get 70 plus H is 10 into minus 2 by 35. Right? So we get the value as 69.42. So the mean literacy rate, considering all the city, is 69.42. So this completes all the problems given in the first exercise in the unit statistics. I hope you have followed all the problems. Please make sure that you keep practicing problems, different problems from different textbooks, so that you will be able to solve any problem given in the final exam. And make sure that you do share, like and subscribe, and do press the bell icon to get notifications on further uploads. And thanks for watching.